Good evening, everyone. You welcome to the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe television. In our top stories, 4 persons are reported dead in Equinoxe village in Konye subdivision, the Meme division of the southwest region of Cameroon, after consuming foods containing poison. The deceased or victims includes a man and his 2 wives and a neighbor. His son is in a critical state in a hospital in Kumba. We will be developing you that story in this edition of the newscast. We'll also talk about the ban that was placed by the senior divisional officer for the Mesam division on Bali Nyonga in the northwest region for a period of 3 months renewable. The impact of that ban is now faced or experienced by the population who now work on food. They cover a distance of about 38 kilometers to Bamenda in order to carry out business activities. Mostella will be presenting to us the conditions the populations are going through, noting that separatist fighters responded by placing a ban on circulation of vehicles. Also, Doctors Without Borders in the northwest region of the country have withdrawn via a team operating in that part of the country because the authorities are yet to allow them fully bounce back with their activities after an 8-month ban. The authorities are accusing Doctors Without Borders for cooperating and assisting separatist fighters. Those were top stories. Good evening once again. You welcome to the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We begin in Meme division of the southwest region of the country, notably in Equinoxe village, as in Konye subdivision, where at least 4 persons have died after consuming food known to have been poisoned by a local substance called mukap used in killing rats. That's according to sources, and the victims include a man and his 2 wives and a neighbor. The man's son is in a critical state in a hospital in Kumba. Details with Mala Glory.
A whole family almost wiped out in the Equinoxe village in Konye subdivision of the Meme division in the southwest region. In unclear circumstances, 3 persons of the same family died after consuming food reported containing poisonous substances. Pa Quinty died on the way to the hospital. His 2 wives, on the other hand, died at the hospital this Wednesday, 4th August. Their son is in a critical condition in a private hospital in Kumba. The food was cooked last night. We all ate and went to bed. This morning, we heated the food. Everyone ate except I and my child as we left for the farm. Later, I received a call that my father has just collapsed. When I got home, I took my national identity card, then struggling to pack some few things. When they said my brother has also collapsed, then my stepmother too, and now they are all dead. The daughter of the deceased is inconsolable. The 4 persons reported dead have been taken to the mortuary while the family is still to ponder over what led to their demise.
And in the following reports, we will be talking about the difficulties faced by the population of Bali Nyonga in the northwest region of the country following a ban placed by the senior divisional officer for a period of 3 months renewable. We'll be coming back to that report in a subsequent edition of the newscast. Now, time for us to take images or the press release by Doctors Without Borders, who announced their withdrawal of their team from the Northwest region. He is by the Anglophone Crisis for over 5 years, the humanitarian organization providing free emergency medical care and ambulance services to the crisis-affected regions in Cameroon. Doctors Without Borders has announced today, that was August the 3rd, 2021, the withdrawal of his team from the Northwest region. The announcement in a press release comes 8 months after his activities were suspended in the Northwest region by authorities of the region on grounds that it has been helping separatist fighters. Despite the withdrawal of his team, the operations coordinator for Central Africa, Emmanuel Lampard, says the organization will keep a small bureau in Bamenda to continue dialoguing with authorities of the region in order to enable them bounce back with their activities to assist the suffering population who are now bleeding as a result of the armed conflict. He adds that if the authorities lift the suspension, the organization will resume activities as soon as possible. Now, the village of Lisuka, that's in the southwest region of Cameroon, now has a new traditional ruler. This comes 3 years after the late chief died in captivity in the hands of separatist fighters. Chief Nje Joseph Mbanda was coronated over the weekend. Attend this by Southwest Regional Correspondent Derek Jato.
The Anglophone crisis has punctured even chiefdoms, especially in the Southwest region. The people have had their traditional rulers pay the ultimate price.
My father, where we all know how he disappeared from the throne.
And one of the chiefs who died in captivity in the hands of the separatist fighters was Chief Mbandanje of Lisuka village in Buya subdivision.
He's 3 years old, particularly 27th of July. Tuesday, my father made 3 years in the grave.
And 3 years after, the people of Lisuka village in Buya subdivision are mending their broken pieces of what is left of them to forge ahead as a people. And today their new chief, Chief Nje Joseph Mbanda, is coronated to succeed his late father.
My people should know that I have come with a new dream and a new vision. We are going to remodernize and re-manage ourselves and the community at large so that we give a better picture and a better image to the community.
It is hoped that the power that be will seek a lasting solution to the Anglophone crisis, which has now graduated to an armed conflict, for the protection of the people and their culture.
We now take you to the west region of the country, where several items, notably contraband products, have been destroyed by custom officials. Drugs, cigarettes, and non-biodegradable plastics were seized by customs officials in Bafoussam recently. Smanjikan Gabriel has more.
A lorry offloading items which were illegally transported into Bafoussam, west region of Cameroon. 10 cartons of benzantine benzyl penicillin injections, 15 cartons of expired syrup, several cartons of cigarettes without stamps, giving a total of 1 million sticks, and 1.2 million pieces of non-biodegradable plastics. The items were seized by custom officials on duty at the different control points into Bafoussam.
The drugs that we have destroyed today have been taken by the custom officer in cars while they are walking. Some at Bandu checkpoint and the other at Babaju checkpoint. We have many drugs, cigarettes, and plastics. That is what we are destroying.
The items that were smuggled into the West region were destroyed this Wednesday in the presence of a senior custom inspector who calls on the population to collaborate with the forces.
We call your population to continue to help customs administration in this fight against illegal products.
The destruction in Bafoussam came at a time when a huge quantity of drugs were also seized by the mobile custom unit in Obala, Yaoundé, Central region of Cameroon.
Meantime, in the north region of the country, similar activity took place. Custom officials caught a truck that was transporting unassembled parts of a motorcycle. The driver lied that it was groundnuts, and Commander Mufo Jutes of the Harkomi Zone 3 explains how the operation went on. Take a listen.
This lorry you see behind me is a lorry that passed in front of customs and declared that they were transporting bags of granules. But on searching the vehicle, we saw motorcycles coming from a neighboring country, imported motorcycles, new ones, which means these people were trying to run away from customs. These are people who do not want to pay taxes. One motorcycle is just about 100,000. If somebody is running away from paying 100,000 because he does not want to participate, he does not want to contribute in the well-being of the country, it means he's a citizen that does not want to participate in his country. So how much does a motorcycle cost? It's just about 100,000. If he prefers to take this money, rent a lorry, rent some bags of granules to put them inside to avoid customs, I see that this is not a good Cameroonian. There will be sanctions. Since they did not want to pay 100,000, they will now pay 3 million.
We now take you to the Douala 5 subdivision, where a pothole that has been abandoned for several years is now endangering lives of road users, who now complain of several accidents, repeated accidents on daily basis. This is the stretch of road linking Bepanda and Bonamusadin. For me, Armstrong Sanda made a tour there. He came back with this report.
A drive from Tunebe Panda to Rond Point Bao in Bonamosadi, all in the Douala 5 subdivision. The first stop over, a place which has been nicknamed Lac Bao in French, meaning Lake Bao in English. Above the gymnastic required from drivers and pedestrians, Lake Bao is a veritable nightmare to users of this stretch of the road. People and bikers fall into this pool of water every day. Imagine transporting a woman and you both fall in here. What a shame.
Accidents are recorded here every day. Sometimes vehicles get stuck there in the water, especially tricycles.
Local inhabitants say the large potholes began degrading in this manner over a year ago.
It all started with small potholes which developed faster into larger potholes within a year. Sometimes we pour stones to fill the holes, but these stones are immediately carried away by the rain.
They say negligence from the Douala 5 Council is responsible for what the road has become today. I want the mayor to fix this road because it might soon be cut off completely. Their calls are directed to the mayor of the Douala 5 Council for immediate renovation.
And now in sports, Issa Hayatu, former president of the Confederation of African Football, has been banned from all football-related activities for 1 year and charged a fine of 19 million francs CFA to pay by the Ethics Committee of FIFA. The decision, made public yesterday is in line with investigations launched after Hayatou stepped down from CAF in 2017. CAF, he is accused of signing in the name of CAF a contract with Lagardère Sports which tarnished the image of the football body and caused a huge loss. Hayatou was a long-time FIFA vice president and he stands in president for several months between Sepp Blatter's suspension from office in October 2015 and the election of Gianni Infantino. 4 months later, the 74-year-old Cameroonian lost the CAF presidency in 2017 in an election against Amat Amat of Madagascar, whose campaign had been supported by Infantino. Up next is Talking Point. Today we're having as guest Dr. Obosi Ernest Neba. He is a psychologist as well as an educationist. Good evening, Dr. Ernest, and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Azi. I'm humbled to be here again to analyze issues that affects our country. And I want to say that in the Northwest and Southwest, to be honest, to be truthful, things are not moving well as civilians are suffering more. I think that when when elephants are fighting, the grass is suffering. And the grass now is the common people. The common people are suffering. And I think that it's high time our government officials, they should be honest so that we can sit and solve this problem. Our elites have to be honest, ministers, directors, politicians, members of parliament, and so on. All of us have to be honest to solve the Anglophone problem, because I feel that there is no honesty because the common man is suffering. And the Amazonian leaders also have to compromise. We think that it's high time the government compromise and let's be genuine to solve this problem. Thank you.
You have bothered just like Amnesty International in its recent reports accusing separatist fighters and the military for causing gross human rights violations and abuses in the two English-speaking regions. You read through that report by Amnesty International. What is new in that report? Because many keep saying they keep publishing and criticizing, condemning the atrocities, but no concrete action.
I want to say that they have been honest. If you look at their analysis, their observation, their satellite images, you see that they have been very honest, Mr. Journalist. I want to say that the Amnesty International and also the Human Rights Watch, they have been analyzing issues and observing issues, and they have been in the field. And when people are in the field, they are telling you the truth. You have to listen. The government have to listen. And I want to say that, Mr. Journalist, many villages have been set ablaze from their report. They are saying that about 170 villages have been set ablaze. More than 500,000 of people are displaced, and then people are really suffering. There's high poverty in the Northwest and the Southwest, and they're analyzing that some villages have been touched, especially the military went to some villages and embarrass themselves by not respecting the rituals. I think that there are some traditional rituals that are not respected. They disintegrated the villages by destroying the thrones of some fawn. I want to say that in the Northwest especially, you know that fawns are highly respected. In those days before 2016, you will never even see a military man even coming closer to the fawn because they respected the fawns a lot. But today you could see military people going into villages and disrespecting the thrones and destroying the chairs and thrones of traditional rulers. I think
Do you have proof?
From the report of Amnesty I'm talking from the report of Amnesty International, and it also reported that there's a lot of looting and there's a lot of rape among the rape cases among the youths in that environment. I want to say that I'm not the one saying Amnesty International. They're saying I have to be honest. And also they are also reporting about the Ngabo incident. About 22 persons died during the Ngabo massacre, where young children also died and mothers died too, Mr. Journalist. They also say that the Amazonian also the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest. They have destroyed a lot, especially schools are not going. They have destroyed schools, some hospitals and so on. Ransom being collected on daily basis, people being kidnapped on daily basis.
Dr. Oniba, away from that, we know it's the same thing, the same atrocities, the same abuses. Now let's look at the recommendations, which are equally the same. All the times they bring up new reports. They call on the international community, the United Nations Security Council, to intervene, to take measures. For 5 years, the United Nations Security Council is still dancing around this situation, the armed conflicts in the two English-speaking regions. What can we understand about this? Are they just taking their time?
I think that human life is very sacrosanct, human life is very divine, human life is very important. And I want to say that people will not die all in the northwest and southwest before the United Nations Security Council comes in. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, talk of ceasefire, and I think that they are more theoretical than pragmatic. They are not practical. They only talk theories. It's like the African Union that is a toothless bulldog. And I think that the UN Security Council have to be serious, because Amnesty International and also the Human Rights Watch, they are saying that they are independent, and they are saying that they should send an investigative team so that they can investigate those who are perpetrating all this violent act in the northwest and southwest, who are destroying. I think that they are saying that there are civilian costs that are there so that people can be prosecuted, and they should take care of issues of IDPs and refugees, because we have a lot of refugees and thousands of IDPs about. And when you look at this crisis, you understand that more than 3,000 people have died in the northwest and southwest, and they are saying that they need thorough investigation. The UN Security Council have to come in so that they can either call for a ceasefire, they call for a more inclusive dialogue so that people can talk, because this problem can only be solved through the talk process. I think that they are very genuine this time around. They are concrete things, and many a times also you see government officials coming out to say that these destructions are not there. But I want to say that
yes, they always criticize the reports of Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International.
But I want to say that we have to be genuine in this country, because human life is very important. There are situations that, yes, military police people were killed in Bali. That's factual. And that's factual. There are cases that children were killed, and children were killed in Kumba. That's factual. We have to be very honest. But when those are international organizations that are very independent, they are apolitical, and I think that government should always listen to them, because they are in the field. Look at recently the other association, Médecins Sans Frontières, that was really helping to assist people in the northwest and southwest, because I think that they are there to support people, to assist people with medical care and good health, whether the non-state actors or the government security personnel. And I think that their activities were stopped by the governor of that region, of the northwest region. But to me, I don't see that relevant, stopping their activities, because they are there to help people, especially issues of health care. But I want to say that if you look at this report,
but what they say is that the government authorities, they are accusing them for cooperating with the separatist fighters, their enemy. Let me put it that way. In time of conflicts like the case in the two English-speaking regions, should health officials neglect a party like the separatists because they are the government consider them to be a barbaric group or set of citizens? I
think that's why they are very, very non-governmental. They are there to aid people in times of crisis, whether you're a military person or you're an Amazonian. But the truth is that when you look at these people, they are very apolitical. They have their objective, they have their goal, and their goal is not being political and having political interest for the government. Their goal is to observe what is in the field, help persons who are suffering in the crisis, and so on. And I think that we have to stop being, at times, I think that our government also is at times they are emotional to an extent. We have to look at this thing concretely and solve the problem. Look at the root causes of this Anglophone crisis and solve the problem, because we are not looking at the root causes, we are looking at the remote causes. But when you look at the Amazonian, you understand that the Amazonian group is a group that was formed. And when you see insurgents Insurgents, there's no way that you tell them to drop their guns and they'll easily drop their guns. You negotiate, you talk with them on a dialogue table, and then you reconcile with them, because the truth is that we must talk, we must be acceptive, we must compromise and listen to each other. At the end of the day,
dialogue, you say.
Dialogue is very important.
We just have just a minute to go out. You always hear Cameroonians say they pray, but their prayers are answered in different countries. Just in some few words, what do you make of that?
I don't want to say that God is not in Cameroon. God is in Cameroon, but I think that God is observing us, because God is really taking his time to observe us, to see whether we can change. And I think that this is the time that we have to change. And I'm talking to all politicians, I'm talking to all who matter, and the Amazonians who are involved in this country, that the people in the Northwest and Southwest are really suffering. It's time for us. There's high poverty in the Northwest and Southwest. There's economic underdevelopment in the Northwest and Southwest. So it has been neglected, and children are not going to school, and people are paying ransom on a daily basis. People are suffering. It's high time. I think that the government has the upper hand to solve this problem.
Thank you so very much, Doctor.
I'm humbled to be here again. I think that peace is the way forward for this country.
Of course, peace is the way forward for a united and, of course, developed country by 2035. That's it for this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks so much for watching. Have a splendid evening in the company of Equinoxe Television. Tomorrow is another day, God willing.